I found myself a little burned out after the Amazon Prime season. And part of it is because there's a lot of content to produce, and not all of it is seen on my YouTube channel. Some of it is UGC content where you record it, you film it, and you send it into the clients, and there's very short and tight timelines. You're up all night, and it's a rigorous time of the season, if you will. And then during that time frame, you still have your other customers, clients that you work with and partner with that also need things done and created within a certain time frame, etc. And then you have the folks that are emailing you during that time frame last minute because their budget got larger or they didn't get the person they wanted, and they're coming in with very high pressure, like, can you get this done? And all of those things end up with like a lot of energy just expelled during that time frame. And this is where the GoPro Mission 1, I think, is not being talked about enough, because I have a ton of cameras that I can play with. Here's the Nikon ZR, in my bag over there. I got my Blackmagic PYXIS. Behind this GoPro is my Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K. Up there is one of my Sony bodies. There's two Sony bodies back there. I got Fuji bodies over there. When you are burned out, it is really hard to push record. People are like, ooh, sad YouTuber, you get a lot of stuff to play with. Yeah, but it's a job, just like anything else, depending on, type of content you create and how far along you are in your career. We create a lot of things for fun and for pleasure, and then we create things for, for money, and there is a job element to that. And I think that's where the GoPro Mission 1 comes in, because a lot of people don't talk about that. They don't talk about how much work it goes, into being a content creator. And this is one of the reasons that I think the GoPro is a sweet product. I think that it's not getting its just deserved, because a lot of people are making all of these dang comparison videos, and everything is about whether or not this is better than that, and whether the GoPro is, as good as the Ace Pro 2 or the DJI Osmo Action 6, and everything is about whether or not, you should buy this one or that one, etc. And we're not talking enough about the actual product itself. And so I wanted to share a little bit of experience on what I think about the GoPro Mission 1. Right now, the GoPro Mission 1 is a really sweet camera. I've used it now for, well, I guess since before launch, because they sent it out to me, and they sent it out for me to test and unbox. So I was one of the first people to have it, and I've been using it since. And in that video, there was a lot of questions on whether or not the GoPro could be used as a full-on dedicated camera. And I think so. And I think that, this camera allows you to pretty much just pick it up and go, and that's one of the reasons that I like it. As you see, I started in my studio, and really quickly I'm able to just get up and go. And the quality all the way up to 8K 24, I'm shooting at 8K 24, 8K 60, means that I can pretty much create high quality cinematic type work with this. I can do it in any setting. Because it's a GoPro, that means in the ocean, on a boat, on a jet ski, on a motorcycle, on a BMX, on a skateboard, rollerblades, in the studio, I can create content. And I think that's one of the pluses of the GoPro Mission 1. I can literally get up and just walk through the neighborhood. Like I said, even on days off, you don't really get a break, but I can do a quick loop in the neighborhood using the GoPro, and it has 32-bit float audio, and so I'm able to, update that audio in post and all of that. And if I'm speaking too quietly because I'm in the neighborhood and people always look at you funny when you walk around with a camera sticking in your face, I can raise that volume when I get back to my office to get ready to post this. But I'm just gonna go to the top of this hill, and then I'm gonna turn around and go back to the house. But one of the things that I like most about this is I've used this in several different ways, in real practical uses. The way I use it the most is a behind the scenes camera. And so that means during photo shoots,
when I'm testing out lenses, when I'm testing out cameras, and when I'm needing like that point of view for the lens, the monitor, whatever it is, then I use that. I've used this for that. And so it's worked really well in that regard because of the quality that you get and the field of view that you get. And so I've used this to test out the PYXIS 6K autofocus when I was testing that for basketball. And when I was testing it for basketball, I was able to get really good point of view of using the PYXIS. And then I'm finishing up a review on the Viltrox 552 Pro. And I also did the same thing where I got point of view, behind the scenes footage of using that while shooting sports and other things. And so that's how I've used this the most. And there's different, I guess there's different modes that you can use, whether it's vlog or just video or open gate, because you got 8K open gate. And so I can use that, and I have used that. And then you can customize your mode as well. You can kind of do, you know, target lock or whatever you want to do, etc. And I've used that. I created my own little custom mode there. That way I can just select it and hit record for when I'm doing my point of view stuff for YouTube. And then the next thing people were asking in the first original unboxing, is this good for sports and running? And so I put it on a harness, and I put it on my high schooler, who is nationally ranked cross-country runner. And he just took it out for runs, and that footage is great. And then I put it on my 12-year-old daughter, who will shortly be ranked in basketball. And then I have another getting ready to be a high schooler, he'll be a freshman this year. He'll be ranked. Well, he is ranked now, I guess, by the local rankings in Georgia. I even put it on my 7-year-old because he wanted to run around with it, and it did really well. And so the question was, is it good for running, battery life, capturing, etc.? And I think it does an amazing job at that. And you can look at the footage, you can let me know what you think. And lastly, someone asked me about, not lastly, but I guess for this video, because I don't want it to be too long, I'm gonna do a lot of these videos, I love this camera. Somebody asked me about the G-Log 2 and how good it is to, how easy it is to grade that. And so I think we should jump into grading now, and we can look at the G-Log 2 and how well it grades. So let's take a look at that.
Someone say something changed me, now this is who I am. So this is what I've been carrying around my GoPro Mission 1 on, which is this Telesin. It's basically a wireless Bluetooth selfie stick, and it's not actually designed for this, but it's been super clutch, specifically because there's a Bluetooth remote control. But let me tell you why you haven't seen a lot of GoPro log footage. And the reason is because if you come here to, and this may be different for like your Final Cut users or your Premiere Pro users, but if you come here, you will find that there is not a GoPro within Blackmagic, at least. There's not a GoPro built-in LUT at this point. And if you go to color space transformation, there's also not a GoPro log format here. And we know the log format is fairly new. And I have the most up-to-date Premiere Pro. I have the most up-to-date DaVinci Resolve, which is the 21.0.2, which is their one that they released like earlier this week. And there's still no log profile for color space transformation. So what we'll end up having to do is just basically building out our own little node tree, if you will. And I'm a fairly new color grader, and so for someone like me, you're probably not going to get what you want out of that, but just let me show you how we are currently in a log format there. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a curve to this. I'm going to use Parade, and I'm just going to add a curve kind of how I would and bring that log down so we can get some dynamic range in there. And then you see here, we're already actually from that sunlight that's peeking through right through here, that light flare. And I don't have the lens hood on this. I should have had the lens hood on this, but I didn't have the lens hood on that. And so you're seeing that sun flare right there in the Parade as you look through that, the RGB there. But that's all I'm really going to do. I'm just going to add that there. I'm going to bring that down just a little bit because we are clipping a bit. Then I'm going to go over here to the second node, and I'm going to add some color. I'm going to do a little color boost here. Boom, boom, boom. Keep it natural. Add some saturation. And I've seen some people take the saturation and, like, you know, kick that thing in like crazy, but just so that you can see just a little bit. And again, I'm not a professional colorist. In fact, I just started using log and raw formats last year, and I haven't even done like a deep dive course or anything like that. So you get what you get. I'm gonna give you what I can, and then I'm gonna add some contrast here, if you will. Just bring that down a little bit, add some punch to it. And I mean, really, that's really all I got. Like I usually use, the way that I've learned to this point is color space transformation and or using a LUT when working with like my Sony bodies or my Blackmagic bodies. But I do prefer the color space transform to a DaVinci Wide, and then out to a Rec 709. But again, like I'm fairly new, so that's kind of what you're getting there. I try to keep it as realistic as possible. Yeah, that's let's add, let's go back here and add one more node in there. Turn those effects off so we can make that. But yeah, that is that. Let me go over here to my HDRs. Let me bring down the highlights a little bit, which may get rid of some of that annoying, I don't know, but yeah, that's what you get. And this is it's their log format, but this is, you can see it there, it's 8K 60. It's their log format. I took that on Wednesday, June 3rd. But yeah, that's why you haven't seen a lot of this, is because it just there isn't a profile for it yet on DaVinci Resolve, and there may be on Premiere Pro or Logic, but I don't use those, and so that's, you know, kind of what we're working with as far as right now. And again, like, I'm brand new to color grading, so I mean, put your suggestions in the comment section below, and what I should do, and I'll come back on the next video or whatnot. But stop that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, any questions you may have. I've thoroughly enjoyed using the Mission 1 so far. I think this is a great camera. I don't think that we should be comparing it to every other camera every single time we bring it out. I think it's one of those things where, you know, comparison is a thief of joy, and you're not necessarily deep diving to actually see how good the DJI, or how good the DJI is versus the you know, whatever, the Ace Pro 2, the Action 6. Like, when you talk about those all the time in comparison to this, you're not actually seeing everything that this is capable of, because you're only doing it from a comparison standpoint. You're not actually pushing the limits of this particular camera. So let me know if there's something else that you want to see. I know the game of marketing right now is always a versus battle, and people click on the videos where it's a versus just seeing a standalone video about a singular project. And that's how the algorithm is feeding things, because it's like cross-pollination and all that stuff. It's just not my game, if you will. I do those videos from time to time, but I do definitely think that if you're considering this camera, you should really deep dive into this camera to see if this is the one that's gonna fit your needs, because they all have different user interfaces, they all have different software, they all have different manufacturers, so it's a different experience altogether. And even though one may have a better log profile versus the other one, you might hate everything else about it, and so you'll never actually get to use the one feature that you like, if that makes sense. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Send any feedback or help advice in the comment section below in regards to grading the log footage on this. And then as soon as DaVinci updates and we have something that we can work with directly, then I'll do another video on that. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video and you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, join the Cosey Coalition if you enjoyed today's content. Put any questions that you have, I'll try to answer what I can. If not, the community hopefully can answer you as well. But yeah, as always, stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.